Welcome everybody to the 2015 NIRSA Regional Flag Football Officials webinar. Within this presentation, we're going to go over some of our major rule changes we had for this year, as well as some of the expectations for you as officials heading into your regional tournament that you may be attending. My name is Mark Comer. I am the Assistant Director of Competitive Sports at the University of Baltimore. My contact information is on the screen. Feel free at any point in time over the next couple weeks or months to email me or call me if you have any questions regarding flag football or anything that we go over in this presentation. I'm also co-presenting with Jason Gant, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Jason Gant. I am the Assistant Director of Competitive Sports at Creighton University. I am also the Officials Manual Editor for the newly formed NIRSA Flag Football Editorial Board. So welcome.
So jumping right into the agenda, again, we're going to go over a lot in this presentation over the next 15 minutes or so. So I'm not going to go over these one by one right now, but this is just to kind of give you a heads up on what we will be discussing. First off, we're going to go over the regional locations and dates. They're all on your screen. Please talk with your professional staff at your institution about attending any of these regional tournaments or the national tournament in January. They all have different dates in terms of application deadlines and whatnot. The staff at your institution will be the best people to contact in terms of being sent to any of these regional tournaments. As students, you guys have a plethora of opportunities within NIRSA. I have put the regional representative and regional student leader of all 6 regions within NIRSA and their email address on the screen for you to use. Please feel free to reach out to them if you want to go above and beyond officiating to get involved with NIRSA, especially if you're looking to become a graduate assistant, or if you are a graduate assistant and you're looking to become a professional staff. These are great contacts to have, and they can answer any non-flag football related NIRSA questions that you may have. So getting into the tournament outline, let's start with all the teams. They're going to be coming from all over the country, different areas. They're very different from the institution you may be at. We're going to have large schools represented. We'll have small schools represented, private schools, public schools, schools that use strictly NIRSA rules, schools that don't. Be aware that they are coming from different areas, and they may not have the same experience that you have. So when you're interacting with them, make sure you're going by the NIRSA rules and by the rules the tournament are using. Your fellow officials, you are going to meet a lot of new people. And I promise if you put the time and effort into these tournaments, you will meet some of your best friends for life at these tournaments. Each and every one of you are going to get better at officiating. That is the goal of the tournament. Do not be afraid to approach someone and introduce yourself. You can use each other, you can ask each other questions, you can be there for each other over the 3 days at the tournament. On Friday, you will have an officials meeting. Read your emails from the tournament staff leading up to that. It'll tell you what you need to bring. It'll tell you if you have games on Friday night. It'll tell you if you have something that you need to prepare for, if you guys are going to have roundtable discussion. It'll also have the information for this webinar that we are going over right now. So you will always have that link if you want to go back and watch it. Make sure you're reading that so you have all the information that you need. And again, a lot of the games will start on Friday. So if you're not bringing your stuff on Friday and then you have games, you're going to have problems being prepared. Come dressed professionally. You should be wearing a school polo and you should be wearing khakis or slacks. Remember, you're representing your institution. If you show up in athletic shorts and a t-shirt and you see the person next to you in professional attire, it's going to look a lot better for those that are dressed professionally. So please come prepared with that uniform. The tournament agenda, again, you'll have the Friday meeting. You might get into games Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you'll have games. You'll usually meet prior to the games on Saturday and Sunday. Listen again to the director of officials and the rest of the staff. They will tell you the times and locations that you need to meet. Always be on time. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure you're on time. In terms of being paid, each tournament is different. Usually you're going to get paid around $10 a game, but there are a handful of tournaments that will give you a stipend. So no matter how many games you work, you'll get paid the same amount as every other official that's at the tournament. You will be put up in a hotel. And again, you are representing your institution. You're also representing the host institution, as the tournament is going to be represented at that hotel. Make sure you're respectful of the staff at the hotel. Make sure you're respectful of the room and the hotel policies. Don't be running around causing a ruckus, because remember, it's not just officials or teams that are there. There's families, there's other people who are staying at that hotel as well. Also, you will have roommates. More than likely, there will be 4 of you in a room, sometimes only 3. Don't be the first one there, throw your stuff all over the bed and claim it for yourself. More times than not, you're going to need to share a bed. If there's not a couch, don't just call dibs and think that the bed is yours both nights and no one can share it with you. Be respectful of your roommates. And same thing, when you wake up Saturday morning, Sunday morning, make sure your roommates are up as well, ready to go and officiate. Interactions and expectations. Interactions with your evaluators. You need to listen and learn. They're there to make you better, and you should be there to get better. Listen to them. Take as much advice as you can. Soak it up, because it might be the only time you get to hear from someone other than the professionals at your institution. If you do have follow-up questions or individual questions for an evaluator, wait until after the game or during downtime. Don't try to ask them at halftime, because the halftimes are supposed to be kept to 5 minutes. Try not to ask them if they are now evaluating someone else or another field. Wait until a downtime, wait until after a game to ask follow-up questions. If you feel the evaluator is incorrect, respectfully approach the director of officials for clarification. Don't call the evaluator out in front of other people. They're not going to appreciate that. It's not going to make you look good as an official either. Go to the director of officials, ask them, hey, I thought this was the rule, or I thought this was the mechanic. I've kind of been told something else. Can you clarify it for me? And then the director of officials will be able to address it to all the evaluators as well. Interactions with your officials. It is vital to be a good crew member. We know you're there. You want to be the best, but you cannot be the best if you're not working well with your crew. Listen to them. Take their advice. Work together. Be cohesive as a unit. If you are elected as a crew chief, it does not mean you're the best official on the crew, but it does give you some powers in terms of who's officiating what position and what game. Make sure everyone's officiating in all positions. Do your best as a crew chief to be a great leader and lead by example, making sure you're there on time, making sure you're being professional, making sure you're running the game the way that NIRSA wants the games to be run. Sportsmanship expectations. It should be no different than your campus, but we still want to go over this. Dead ball officiating. Make sure you are talking to the players after plays, good and the bad. If they are doing something great, say, hey, nice play, number 19, or hey, great catch. Whatever it may be, make sure you're acknowledging the good, and then the bad, make sure you're talking to them. Hey, knock it off. And obviously, if it's something that's beyond just a quiet word or a conversation, having to flag it. Make sure we're addressing any sportsmanship issues that we have. Attire. Again, make sure you're reading your emails. Director of officials should reach out to you with more information about what's to be worn. Obviously, certain tournaments, it's a lot colder than others. If you're down in Florida, it might get a little hot compared to if you're up in the Northeast or if you're up, in the Midwest. Make sure you're checking your emails. Black pants tend to be the uniform for all the regionals. High school pants are allowed, so if they have that white stripe, that is okay. Otherwise, predominantly black pants. You want black shoes and black socks, black hat, white pipes if possible, and then you should have flags, beanbag, whistle, pucks, down indicator, and a stopwatch as well. You should have all that to officiate in. And our overall expectations for you, make sure you know the schedule. Again, that comes with reading the emails. Make sure you are talking to anyone at the tournament to know where you're supposed to be at all times. Work together to make the tournament a success. That's not just you as an official. That's with the tournament staff. That's with the players, participants. And overall, have fun. Make sure you're having a good time. We want you to have a good time. That's the main goal of the tournament.
Okay, so now we're going to get into some of our rule changes and mechanics changes from this year. As you can see, many of the rule changes, I'll hit on a couple of the important ones. The first, extension of periods. So a period shall be extended by an untimed down if it occurs during a down in which time expires. So that's a bit of a change from the past, and we have a case play coming up that we will review that. Also, many of you have noticed one of the big changes is for the minimum line players, 7-3-2. That says that the snapper is the only A player required to be on their scrimmage line at the snap. So no longer do you need 4 people on the line for men's and women's games and 5 people on the line for co-rec games. Pass interference, that's a subtle change. Now, for both offensive and defensive pass interference, basically restrictions end as soon as anyone on the offense or the defense touches the ball. So as soon as one person touches the ball, restrictions for pass interference ends. However, we may still have an illegal contact foul. Lastly, dead ball fouls. When we have more than one dead ball foul before the completion of penalty administration, each dead ball foul will cancel another 10-yard foul on the other team, and all 10-yard fouls will be enforced that remain. This only applies to 10-yard fouls. So a 5-yard false start will not cancel a 10-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, and we have a case play for that as well. So for the extension of periods, we have 3rd and goal and 10 seconds remain in the 2nd or 4th period. A1 completes a pass to A7, who is deflagged at the 10-yard line. A1 is roughed on the play. In A, there are 5 seconds remaining when the clock is stopped, and B, time has expired. The ruling is that in A, because there is time still left on the clock will start on the ready for play whistle. If A does not snap the ball before the time expires, the half is over. However, in B, because the time expired during the play, we will run an untimed down. As it relates to dead ball fouls, let's say that A is a yard short of the line to gain. A taunts B3. B3 then pushes A5. A10 then screams an obscenity at B3. So A5 and A10 will receive unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, and then B3 will receive a dead ball personal foul. The yardage penalties for A5 and B3 will be canceled because there are 1 on each team. However, we still have the foul by A10 that's left over, which means that we will enforce that. The down will count. It'll be 4th down with 11 yards to gain. With co-rec, remember, we need to communicate effectively. So open and close status, we must be on top of that on each and every play. If we incorrectly indicate open or close, the down must be replayed. There are no options on that. Referees, throw your bean bags on the spot for closed plays of the pass when the female is the passer. And line judges, make sure you plant on the line of scrimmage until the ball crosses, and you will rule on illegal forward pass. Illegal forward pass, most of us know that that's a male-to-male. However, remember, if a female passer throws to a male behind the line of scrimmage and any male player advances through the line of scrimmage, it is also an illegal forward pass. That will occur on both open and closed plays. With illegal male advancement, remember male runners may not advance through the line of scrimmage until the ball has been crossed and touched by another player. With our mechanics changes, a couple of key points. So with the line judge, the line judge will no longer state line's good and drop his or her arm. Also with the line judge, on the goal line, when the ball is snapped from the 10-yard line or in, the line judge will immediately go to the goal line and work their way backwards into the field. So get to the goal line, stay on the goal line, and if the play is then short of the goal line, you can come back to get to that spot. With the hurry-up offense, make sure that if A is ready and started their cadence, make sure that we chop in the ready for play, and then we announce the down in distance. With basic 4-person mechanics, our referee will be 7 yards and 7 yards wide. from the deepest player, so not necessarily the quarterback, but it could be a player behind the quarterback as well. Our line judge will line up 2 yards off of the sideline on the line of scrimmage, and after the initial rush, the line judge will flow downfield. Our field judge will start at 10 yards. So our field judge starts at 10 yards, and then the field judge is primarily responsible for the line to gain and the goal line. Our back judge will start 17 yards downfield and 15 yards off the sideline. An easy way to determine 15 yards off the sideline is that it's the hash. So the hash mark, if there is a hash mark on the line judge's side of the field, that is going to be where the back judge will initially line up. Points of emphasis for this year, we addressed it earlier as far as game tempo. Let's make sure that we are not delaying selections regarding penalties, punt plays because the clock is running. Also, wait until after the ready for play before you answer any comments or questions as the referee. Line judge, with the new line requirement being eliminated, there's no need to say line set. There's no need to say line's good. However, we will still inform players when they're in the neutral zone that they need to back up. So if a player is in the neutral zone, yell at them, tell them to back up. Otherwise, if the players are lined up onside, then they will be okay. Field judge, make sure we are communicating loudly when we are referring to our short calls or our first down calls. And then back judges, after the catch is made on punts and you beanbag the play, you need to trail the play for about 5 or so yards to observe the blockers ahead of the runner. The line judge and the field judge will still be responsible for spotting the ball and having forward progress. However, as the back judge, don't just take the play off. You will be able to assist by refereeing blocks ahead of the play. For the crew, line judge and field judge, remember, the field judge is responsible for 95% of the zone line to gain and the goal line calls. If you are the line judge and you are on the goal line or the line to gain at the time and you are planted there, you're really only going to be responsible for about 5 yards of that line. You need to determine if the runner stepped out of bounds on the sideline. However, the field judge would be able to determine where the runner was as relation to the line to gain or the goal line. Last point of emphasis for mechanics as a crew, we will discuss the bunch play. So as you can see on this diagram, couple key points. Everyone is responsible. This is not a call for the referee, not a call for the line judge. We are all responsible. And the way we handle the bunch play, make sure the runner is not initiating the contact through an established defender. Make sure the offense is not displacing an established defender. And make sure the defense is not splitting offensive players or displacing the offensive players. Whoever is in charge of the contact or responsible for the contact, that is the player that should be penalized on this play. With 2-minute mechanics, make sure we are all communicating as a crew. So as far as mirroring mechanics, anytime we give the stop clock signal, we are going to want everyone to give the stop clock signal. However, if we are not giving the stop clock signal, such as a touchback or an incomplete pass or a touchdown, then we do not need the other officials giving the stop clock signal. Make sure, back judges, that you are announcing the clock on every single play. With overtime, we're going to bring all of the players and teams and coaches into the center of the field to explain the procedures. The easiest way to think about this is such as high school overtime rules. So both teams will have an opportunity from the 10-yard line, and the zone line to gain will always be the goal line in overtime. Keep in mind that when a touchdown is scored, a team can choose to go for 1, 2, or 3 at any time, and there's never a time where they must go for a certain point value. There is one timeout for all of overtime, and whenever the ball is intercepted by B, the play is dead immediately.
All right,
So that's all we're going to do as far as the mechanics changes. I'll pitch it back to Mark, who will talk about the bid selection.
All right, thank you, Jason. Hopping into the bid selection process, every year there's questions from officials about the bid selection process, so we want to be as upfront and open with all of you as possible. The number of bids is determined by the number of teams at the tournaments you're officiating. Tournaments that have 40 or more teams will receive 4. 20 to 39 teams will receive 3 bids. 19 or less receive 2 bids, and then every tournament will receive 1 alternate bid. And these team numbers include collegiate teams, Special Olympic teams, and open teams. If you were an All-American last year, congratulations. You are welcome to come back to the national tournament as long as you work at least 1 tournament as an official or an official subcommittee member. Institutional registrations, talk to your school. If you are an institutional registration, they will be able to point you in the right direction with that. At-larges, so if you don't receive a bid but you'd still like to go to nationals, you have to work at least 1 tournament this year as an official or an official subcommittee member, and then you must submit your application to be an at-large official by December 1st. Again, you can contact either Jason or myself, and we can give you a little more direction on the at-large process and how to apply for an at-large selection. With that, we wrap up our presentation. I'd like to thank you all for listening and taking the time out of your day. And I'd like to thank you for representing NIRSA and your institutions at all of our regional tournaments. We could not have any of these tournaments without our officials, and every single year we're excited to have new and returning officials come out to all of our tournaments. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. If you have any questions, both Jason and my information are on the screens. You can always email or call us at any point in time. Thank you so much, and good luck this season.